Yesterday was just.
Still recovering.
Yeah.
Back to Fiat madness land.
Yeah. The Fiat conference, the 2026 Las Vegas Fiat conference.
The Bitcoin Fiat conference. Next year we'll be in Nashville.
Maybe.
Oh,
Get
that's
your
the bigger
physical Bitcoin. Get your physical Bitcoins here.
Is that the 1 inch or is that's bigger?
That's an inch and a quarter. That's the new MicroSeed version right there.
That the spacing and everything about it, it'll be just cleaner and
perfect. Yeah,
beautiful, steady improvements on all that front. I oh yeah, Johnny wants the update. There's a lot to say, and it's funny because I was thinking through my head of what all happened there, and it's not like as a participant I was seeing any of the stages at all. Right. There was one that we could walk by that was right next to us, where a lot of people were, and I would catch some of that. That was on the what stage was that? The Genesis stage was like kind of right near us.
Yeah,
and I would walk by that one, but there was one. I mean, so I think it definitely ran the gamut where there were some really cool talks, like Robin and Stacy and Paula were all on the, hey, do a podcast, podcaster talk. And that was cool, but I only caught a moment of it while I walked by and back real quick.
Yeah. And hey, then, Helen, real quick, what do you mean? How do you get them? Which them?
Yeah, Helen, tell us what get them. Oh, the MicroSeed, maybe
Oh yeah. Well, this is actually where you can stamp all 24 of your seed words on a single washer. But yeah, microseed.io is where you can get the device to make that happen.
Yeah.
But the reason I was saying it's like a physical Bitcoin is like if you have your seed phrase on here, this is actually like as close as you can get to a physical Bitcoin in the real world. So you can literally hand this coin to somebody with those seed phrases on it, and you're literally like exchanging a physical Bitcoin with someone if they trust that those seed words are valid anyway.
Yeah, and it was similar to last year where people would walk up and be like, a handful of things, like so either like oh I've seen this, yeah, I've done this, and it's like, have you? Oh wait, it's one washer. It's not a stack. Oh, it's just this one little thing. Oh, I haven't seen this. Or they had no idea. They're just like, what is this? Yeah. And then very consistently, once they understood the catch, it was like, oh, people love it. People do love it. That was very validating. Is 90%, I would say, everybody's like, oh, cool, yeah, okay. Yeah. And then there's always people that are like, well, I can't read it, or well, I don't mind it bigger, and we're kind of like, yeah, that's fine. Larger letters, more space. Well, we're getting there. We're going to do that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, but yeah, I didn't sit through a talk at all. I just would catch glimpses of them. But I will just say, yeah, it's kind of the big corporate suit space. Largely, it's like, there'd be big booths where they spent, I don't know how many tens of thousands of dollars to have that big booth in space, and they got 2 to 5 staff dressed up and ready and for branding, because they were, I didn't know what in the hell they did. I saw a whole bunch of names of companies that looked totally put together, and it's like, I pay attention to this stuff generally, and I have no idea who they are or exactly what they do. Something finance or something mining.
Right.
It was not based, but it was. Right. There was that, but then also there was a great art venue. Lots of great art.
Oh yeah.
And I've heard they might even expand or give that a stage, like an art stage, like and have artists talking, maybe in Nashville or elsewhere. I don't know. But anyway, they're still supporting the arts. They kept the bazaar layout. have our opinions about, but it was, I mean, we were there.
Yeah.
They had the bazaar, and it ran the gamut from cool Bitcoiners like us to shake weights.
Yeah. Yeah. Like some really odd sort of people show up for that kind of stuff. A surprising number of like clothing merchants and things like that show up at the bazaar. Those booths aren't cheap, and it's like, I don't know. I kind of wonder about the whole ecosystem. Like I can say, just walking around a little bit, like I thought, I thought the, I think it's fun, right? Like I think the
It
whole
is fun. The
is
vibe
really
was good.
fun. There's a lot of good vibes. You can say what you will about the kind of corporate takeover of the whole thing, but it's kind of like, well, I mean, it's the biggest Bitcoin conference in the world, right? And there's still 35,000 people there just walking around thinking about Bitcoin, talking about Bitcoin, being in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Bring Facts? So
Yeah.
it's a cool conference in that regard. I mean, the thing is like once you've seen a handful of those speeches, like they're all kind of the same. It's like Bitcoin good, fiat bad. And here's all the reasons why my company does that better than everybody else, or whatever.
Or
Yeah.
fiat, maybe not so bad, because like whatever Mallers is doing with 21, and then Saylor saying, like, well, Solana is good for Bitcoin. And it's kind of like, are we becoming steadily a little more fiat apologist or friendly? I mean, from certain big names, it's definitely like, I try to, I mean, we have our opinions, but for me, it's kind of like inevitable. Okay, huge money. It's just the money, follow the money, and it's going into Bitcoin. So those people are arriving. So it's everywhere for me at this point. It's everywhere from okay to probably fine and inevitable, and just let's get through this phase and see where it goes.
Right.
But anyway,
Well, I mean, if you just look at the numbers, right? Like most of the Bitcoin is not held by people. It's held by
yeah,
exchanges, it's held by corporations, it's held by ETFs, it's held by miners. So, and that wealth concentration is already problematic in the Bitcoin space. Like back in the day, the wealth concentration was whales, right? Like whale wallets controlling everything. And now those whale wallets are slowly draining into BlackRock wallets and Fidelity wallets and Kraken wallets and Coinbase wallets and stuff like that. So it is dispersing, but it's still very concentrated and very powerful actors. So it's I think it's problematic for Bitcoin in general, just because like if you take the core design principles of like peer-to-peer electronic cash, right? Like those days are clearly gone. Like that's not a thing. And no one's really treating Bitcoin that way. I mean, we can say like a handful of people are doing this, that, or the other thing, or Lightning Network, and people are zapping for Stake Shack or Stake and Shake or whatever the hell they are. But the vast majority of these holdings are like corporate, and so that's why we're always pushing for like like keeping the node layer decentralized, because that's really really important. I mean, if we want to have any hope of like retaining Bitcoin as a thing of the people, by the people, for the people, like if you just let it all get captured by the corporations, you go, well, you may as well just, I mean, then you kind of go, well, why not Solana, or why not, some ding dong coin or whatever?
yeah,
Like, what difference does it make? If it
yeah,
just becomes an asset, just another asset that Wall Street bros tinker around with and use to like buttress their balance sheets or whatever, and you go, okay, that's a thing for Bitcoin to do, but the self-sovereign properties of like being able to exclude others from your very valuable property, they kind of fade into the background. I don't
yeah.
think it ultimately eliminates that use case, but the problem is you just have fewer and fewer people that understand that use case. So you end up with people like us that are holding relatively small amounts of Bitcoin compared to like Michael Saylor, right? And like ideally those are the people that have all the Bitcoin, not BlackRock, not Fidelity, but we just never quite crossed that Rubicon. So now we're seeing it, and we see it at the conference, right?
Yeah, they are vacuuming up the Bitcoin, and so the framing about like, well, you're at the Bitcoin conference, you're so fiat, but it's like they frame it as like Bitcoin is like a foundation in terms of a hard asset or property that they're standing upon, but what their business model is all layers on top of that, with its variously fiat or the tokenization of things. There was at the conference, and I can't remember what talk it was, but might have been even Sailor too, but it's been talked around at various venues where Wall Street and other corporations, all these things they're wanting to tokenize all this stuff, and then somehow underneath that, it's going to like, does it even connect to Bitcoin, or is Bitcoin just kind of the supporting foundation for what they're doing?
Right.
Who knows? But it's the tokenization of stuff, and then but also we're base Bitcoin too, fundamentally. And it's like, are you though? Or for some, it's just simply a brand like marketing angle, and for others, yeah, they do utilize Bitcoin for something there. But the layers they're working with in terms of their business model is all fiat oriented. So
right. Well, I mean, they're treating Bitcoin more like what it actually is in practice, right? Like Michael Saylor did not build strategy on top of peer-to-peer electronic cash. He built strategy on top of Bitcoin, the property right. Fidelity and all the ETFs are building that on a commodity right. It's a commodity ETF. It's regulated by the commodities exchange people, right? So these are not people that are looking at this like peer-to-peer electronic cash. And so the people that keep digging in their heels about this stuff, I go like, that ship sailed as soon as ASICs came online, right? Like the second you could concentrate mining resources and it became a speculative asset, then that use case of like peer-to-peer exchange just kind of evaporated, right? It's becoming an institutional coin at this point. So, I think the important thing for the plebs to do, even if we're just swimming in the wake of a whale, it's like we still have to maintain the integrity of the network in order for us to keep enjoying the properties that make it meaningful to individuals, which is the network layer, right? And the ability to self-custody. But if those things go away, or if they just become like third order ideas about what Bitcoin is, because right now there's people structuring all kinds of complex financial instruments on top of the Bitcoin layer. It's like, well, you just have a fiat, machine with a different asset in the bottom. So it's kind of like, eh.
And government interest, Kash Patel at the Bitcoin conference. Bitcoin and virtual assets are how most of the world conducts transactions. Bitcoin is not going anywhere. I'm not sure what that means.
That means it's all digital rails. Like,
same game, different rails. So, yeah. And then Maller's announced something about basically merging Strike with 21. And what is 21 doing? I don't think we know yet.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Wasn't it just a year ago that he was saying that'll never happen, and now, like a year later, he's just announcing it like this is what's happening? It's like
it's the steady march towards what like they're all doing, and
right, yeah. So, I mean, like, yeah.
And that's where the money is. I mean, I get it. Right now, it's fiat world. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to. We talked long in the evenings, day after day, with our friends about where is it. In one sense, I would say, like, where is this all headed? What is Bitcoin's role in the future? Like, really, is it peer-to-peer electronic cash? I mean, you can use it that way, but everything is about holding it like similar to like gold, but it'd be like instead of like okay, everybody's going to store and hoard or save their gold for the future, but you're not transacting in it. People would almost rather use their fiat for all that such business, because that's the nature of the game and what we're used to and how we think about it all. And then if you're saving, or call it investing, if you're storing for the future, you put it in Bitcoin, but you don't touch it. And fiat just may continue to run in parallel forever with all that. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, is like, that's the Cantillon effect. And like, it's really funny to hear Bitcoiners talk about the Cantillon effect and then talk about like, well, we need to spend our Bitcoins. And it's like, dude, well, if good money drives out the bad, or if bad money drives out the good, I should say, then it always makes sense to use the bad money to transact, right? Like, that's what the Cantillon effect says. If someone's debasing your coins, you hang on to the good coins and you spend the debased ones. So why would you suddenly reverse that if you're a Bitcoiner and go, yeah, we should just spend all the good money and put it into the hands of BlackRock and Fidelity, and we should shun the bad money entirely so we can just continually lose all our Bitcoin. It's like that doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like it just sounds backwards on its face. It's like if you understand the Cantillon effect, then why would you promote the idea of like selling your good money?
Well, I'm wondering where it goes with Square having Bitcoin payment rails and receipts that show Bitcoin, and you can buy and sell in Bitcoin over time. Where that goes, does that work?
Well, it's all on Lightning, right? I mean, that's not on chain Bitcoin. That's Lightning, so that's an
Yeah,
abstraction of Bitcoin. That's not Bitcoin. So when you're transacting on Lightning, you're not really transacting on Bitcoin. You're using Bitcoin as an ultimate settlement layer, but that's through a bunch of different intermediaries along the way. And some of the complexity of Lightning, and by the way, a lot of the sort of Knots camp, when they start arguing for stuff, they're talking about functionally breaking some of the Lightning network capacities and capabilities. Not to say that the Lightning developers wouldn't figure out a way to work around whatever, like if Knots became like the de facto, implementation of the node software, but like if there's this like purist idea that says, hey, we need to restrict everything to these microtransactions on a network that's capable of processing 7 transactions per second or per minute or whatever, you go like, so how exactly does that work for a monetary system? Like we're just going to limit the entire global economy to 7 transactions per second or 7 transactions per minute or whatever it is. Like that obviously won't work. Like you obviously cannot make that function as a global monetary order. So you have to have some sort of other abstraction to make that monetary layer work. But then you're not on Bitcoin anymore. You're on a separate layer. You're on a separate network. So,
well, at least that would be reflective of culturally the people's language of money. It would still be in the number of Bitcoin, in terms of how they're thinking about the amount of money it costs for value, but it would have to be, yeah, Lightning or Liquid or something for sure.
well, yeah, I mean, but that's what I'm saying is like, even if you got people thinking in those terms, like they can't ever really think in those terms because it's like, you go, well, what's the price of this thing in Bitcoin? It's like saying, what's the price of this thing in oil? You go, well, that's going to be really hard to figure out. What's the price of this thing in XYZ, any number of things, right? Like there has to be some sort of stabilizing mechanism in there to make it so that's always a consistent touch point, or else monetary order doesn't work. You can't transact if today it costs you $2 to buy a Starbucks, and tomorrow it's going to cost you $2.50 to buy a Starbucks, and then the next day it's going to cost you $1.25, and then the day after that it's going to cost you $4.75, and then the day after that it's going to cost you $3. Like you can't run an economy off of volatility like that. Like you need a stable unit, right? And so how you get that unit to stabilize, like all this stuff is just very like convoluted, and I don't think people really think about these problems that much.
Yeah, so like Jack Dorsey and Jeff Booth and others, it's like we need Bitcoin to be used for transactions. Like that's core and important, and that's just it. It's like you're immersed in this Bitcoin conference world, and you're talking to Bitcoiners, and you feel this strong vibe, and there's all these people that like get so many things about the mindset of things, and then as soon as I walk out of the venue. Yeah, I mean, sure, there's the casino, but then the airport back to normie land, and I'm back to such a huge world of people that just have such no idea, or actually opposite incentives, and so it would take something large and existential in a way, I think, to give people that push over. If you're thinking of a Bitcoin standard, what turns that corner? It would have to be something so big and deep and huge, and Bitcoin also fixing that and just ready. At one level, I think Bitcoin can, but we don't have a need, and so people
Well,
aren't.
how though? I mean, like
I
I
don't
hear
know.
that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, but that's what I'm saying is like people go, yeah, we can have a Bitcoin standard. I go, how? And they go, well, I don't know. I mean, like, it's like, I mean, what event is going to turn that corner? Like it seems very unclear to me. when I survey the landscape and I go, well, the vast majority of Bitcoin is held in corporate hands. The vast majority of people don't self-custody. The vast majority of people don't run a node. The vast majority of people don't transact on chain. The vast majority of people that do use Bitcoin tend to use things like Liquid or Lightning, or they're transacting from their exchange to something. And the Cantillon effect itself says you shouldn't be spending your Bitcoins ever. Like if you have to put any stock in that argument of like, well, the bad money chases out the good, then why would you ever spend the good to collect the bad? Or why would you spend the good to try and collect more of the good, even though less and less of it's going to be available? Like none of these things make sense to me, but people will say things because Safadine wrote a book and said, well, it's Bitcoin standard. It's like, okay, yeah, but what does that look like in practice? And nobody seems to have any sort of viable answer to that, best I can tell. Like I've surveyed the landscape. I look around and I go, I don't hear anybody with an answer to like how this happens. It's just like all it is like this sort of ephemeral, like automagically, the world is just going to shift over because they're all going to recognize. And I go, the world doesn't recognize anything ever. They never have, probably never will. So what's going to be that catalyst? How do you stably denominate something in something that is continually deflating the float? Like the float is continually being lost to, mistakes and errors and whatnot. So if you're continually losing Bitcoins, the number of Bitcoins coming into circulation are continually declining, and there's no way to stably denominate this, and the incentive says you shouldn't spend the good money. The incentive says you should spend the bad money at all times, always, because that always makes more sense. You go, how does this become the Bitcoin standard? How does that world work? And you go, and I haven't heard a single viable answer yet, other than we just have to make it happen somehow, maybe, because if we just do enough, sooner or later it'll happen. It's like, that's not how anything develops in life ever.
I don't think, grassroots is not going to pierce that castle. And I think the scenario I imagine is sort of like, okay, so like in Argentina or in many countries, the parallel being like, okay, government and people get all paid and do things in fiat, and the fiat just gets worse and worse and worse and clearly worse, and everybody knows it's bad. And so you get paid and you're quickly trying to just move that into something else, whether that's bricks or a stable coin or the dollar. You're just trying to move it. Right. So if the US dollar was clearly just steadily so bad, then you'd have people across the world, including Americans, getting paid and doing stuff with the dollar, but then taking their dollars and quickly thinking, okay, I need to just move this, whatever I have left or extra that I didn't spend here now quickly or whatever, I got a little sitting for a little while, I'm going to move that where? So it could be that more people say, well, then that appears to be Bitcoin. Right. And so they're converting, but then what are they doing with that? They're sitting on it until then when they want to use it. Do they use it on Bitcoin and on chain, or do they convert it back to fiat to spend the way they do with other fiat?
Right.
And so, I don't know.
Well, I mean, that scenario you just painted, I go, yeah, I can very much see that. Like I can get behind that thesis all day long, but that's not a Bitcoin standard. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's a Bitcoin hedge. That's a hedge against debasement. So that's property. That's not currency. That's not peer-to-peer electronic cash. I have a durable asset that is resistant to fiat shenanigans. And that makes a lot of sense to me from just the Bitcoin white paper, the Bitcoin design principles, the Bitcoin, the way the system works and everything. You go, all of that makes complete and perfect and total sense to me. The idea of it being a transactional currency network, I go, I don't see that happening ever. Like, I don't know how that unfolds, but
like writ large, like right, large.
Yeah. But I mean, but the thing is, if you can save in Bitcoin, like if you're in Argentina and you're getting paid in Argentinian pesos and you don't want to necessarily skip from Argentinian pesos into US dollars, like the only difference between an Argentinian peso and a US dollar is the US dollar deflates, like your purchasing power goes down way slower. That's all. Like Argentinian pesos, if you get paid today, you need to spend it by the end of today because tomorrow won't buy as much. Like that's how fast their debasement is, right? But if you convert that to dollars at the point, like that dollar is going to be worth, the same, it's going to buy the same amount of stuff the dollar does for the next, couple years, right? So you're at least staving off that short-term debasement, but you're still getting debased. But, when you convert it to Bitcoin, the problem with Bitcoin is then you got to wait like 10 years to see the results of that, not one. So it's a great big sticky mess, this whole money thing.
Do you want to share who our last sale of the entire conference, wasn't it? Who that
Yeah.
was?
Yeah, that was it was actually really funny. Like the guy kind of gets a lot of grief. Like I think going back to the Wizard Hat days and stuff like that. But
Oh yeah.
David Bailey swung by the booth, and he's the organizer of the Bitcoin conference. And I didn't recognize him. Like he could have been chewing on my leg, and I wouldn't have known at all it was David Bailey. But he was a really nice guy. This dude came up. He was actually kind of far out, and I noticed there's when we're working the booth, like me and Fritz are a little bit different. Like people will be walking by and just kind of glance over. I'm always just like casting a fishing line out there, and Fritz will just let them walk. He's like, no, whatever. If they want to come over and come up. But
I
I was like,
watched you
hey,
any kind of eye contact. Yeah.
yeah, do you want to check it out? Do you want to check it out? And so David Bailey was walking by and I said, hey, do you want to check it out? And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And he walked over, and he's like literally in like sweats and a t-shirt and just kind of chilling, right? And I mean, the guy's worth $500 million. But he came over and said, yeah, it's this. You can you stamp all 24 words on a single washer. It's this little device. It's just you stamp, click, stamp, click. It's really easy, really fun. I was like, oh, man, that's really cool. Yeah, I'll take one. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Sure. I'll throw in an extra pack of titanium washers for you and yada, yada, yada. Just the same spiel I'd given 100 times before. But I noticed he had some guy with the earpiece and just the standing off to the corner. I'm like, so what's with the security guy, dude? He's like, well, I'm kind of the organizer of the conference. And I was like, wait, you're David Bailey? Holy shit, dude. Like I didn't recognize you at all, man. Oh my God. But yeah, he was just a really sweet guy. And, I mean, I don't know how you wouldn't be a sweet guy if you're, worth $500 million. It's like,
Everything's fine.
yeah,
Not
everything's
could
great.
be like a penny and you're still fine.
Yeah. I mean, he could have bought the entire company of MicroSeed and not noticed. So,
Yeah.
it's like, and he probably could have done it off pocket cash, but yeah, so that was kind of fun. But Chris Cyborg, the MMA champion, she came by, and I got a picture with her somewhere. I got a post online, and I gave her a microseed just because she's awesome. That was kind of a trippy person to meet because she was really, really nice, really, really sweet lady. But as I'm looking at her, I'm like, this woman could utterly destroy me. Like the only reason that this girl doesn't murder me is because she doesn't want to, but there's nothing I could do to stop her if she decided, you know what, I'm taking you out, dude. Like, I'm just done. I better hope I have, a bat, right? Because like otherwise this chick's gonna destroy me. So, it's stuff like that is kind of interesting. And her husband, I think it's her husband, he's also a jujitsu guy that would just absolutely destroy me. So it's just kind of like, it's kind of quirky.
You weren't going to start a fight.
Definitely not starting a fight with those two. So yeah, we there's like some neat people around. Nat Brunell was right behind us. I didn't get to meet her.
Yeah.
But we also got to see like Paula from what's her Bitcoin Edge. Yeah, Bitcoin Edge, and X Stacy was there, and just a lot
of the Bitcoin Army.
Yeah.
Cousin and Jeeves and George and a bunch of folks chilling, hanging out.
Yeah, so it was like it's the conferences are great for like the personal connections and just actually like seeing people you interact with on Twitter in person. And I actually think it gives you a really nice lens on like who these people really are, right? Because like you can meet the people where it's like, oh wow, cool, like another nice, genuine, conscientious person who's just like thoughtful and easy to talk to. And then you see the people that are all wrapped up in their personality and they're kind of standoffish and all sorts of weird about it. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I get it on some level, but it's like, come on, man, you're not Michael Jordan. You're not, you're not Steven Spielberg or something. You're just some Bitcoin influencer. So why don't you take a step back a little bit and kind of cool your jets there, Punchy. But I mean, it's fun because you get to put an actual face and personality, like a real world personality versus like their stage personality, right?
Yeah.
And that's why guys like BTC Sessions, like he's just such a genuine guy. Like he didn't stop by our booth this year, but I got to hang out with him a little bit in Prague last year. And, from the second you talk to him, he's just like, you go, oh yeah, it doesn't matter the fact that he's one of the most popular Bitcoin influencers out there. It doesn't matter that he's like instantly recognizable with his little white shock of hair and is well dressed and all this kind of stuff. He's just this really down to earth, really, really cool, really sweet, genuine person. But it's kind of the same, people like we met in El Salvador. It's the same people we meet in Bitcoin is for everyone in Portland, Bitcoin veterans, like they're all just down to earth, awesome people. Hey, what's up, Travis?
Yeah, that's what I like about like Uncle Rockstar.
Oh, dude, Uncle Rockstar is awesome.
Yeah, so he still remains, he likes his mask and being undoxed largely, and he's got his big sheet of the fiat printout, and he's having people sign it, and he could act and pretend to be like Rockstar and be like a little separate from others. Like he's doing just fine. He's a brilliant developer. He's got this Senor Misterioso about him, and people love him. But he makes his rounds everywhere to the plebs, through the bazaar, all around. Random people come up, and he's so genuinely nice. He's just very like down to earth. Like he's the uncle, but we're all his nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
And he's always been so nice. Arm around the shoulders, selfies, takes the time. He enjoys that.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do that, but he's based like, I will never stop fighting for Bitcoin. And I love that about him, the personable energy. And even though he's in the mask and it's all like little mini Satoshi man, he's just cool. So a lot of folks like that. Mostly people, really, a lot of good people. I mean, it's hard to explain, but I loved it. Oh, and the whole art area. Talking to Austin Noah and a lot of the artists. Just I love it. The culture and the relationships we have with Bitcoin and the Bitcoin culture and the art scene. It's just got so much energy there, which I'm thankful for, but I love it.
Yeah. Well, hey, I want to hear that song, Bring Facts, because I love the way you framed it there, because you're right. I think these conferences should be for the Bitcoiners, for the people, I also recognize these conferences attract all these people because, there's like a lot of money flowing into the space. Right. So, but somewhere in there, it's hard for me to draw a line, right? Because it's like, you go, well, I met a lot of people that didn't know anything about Bitcoin, that were just kind of there and checking out the conference and learning and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, all right, so that's one way to look at things. You kind of go, all this money and all this attention is bringing new people into the space, right?
Yeah.
And we're at bear market or whatever you want to call it right now. Like there were more noobs showing up, and every time they put on a conference anywhere, it doesn't matter if it's Amsterdam, the Bitcoin Denver or whatever. It's like, every time you put something like that on, there's more new people coming to Bitcoin, right? And so there's a lot of benefit to that. It's the thing that troubles me is like, well, what narrative are they going to come away with when they leave the conference, And I think, like you said, if it weren't about the celebrities and the feds, and it was about based Bitcoin knowledge, that would be probably net positive, but I don't know if as many normies would show up. You know what I mean? So it's sort of like, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, there were still quite a few people where, they're into Bitcoin. They think they love Bitcoin, but they're really still learning. There were people that didn't really understand self-custody, or they understood it, but it was another hard or different step for them. And they're like, well, I still do Coinbase. I know that's not perfect, but I just don't know what the next steps are, or whatever. And they're on the path. There were others that were just like, a couple that I talked to that were just kind of like, oh, I don't know what that is, and I don't really care either. Like, oh, I'm good. No, I will never do that, or whatever they do in Bitcoin, who knows? But they like Bitcoin. But yeah, I think a lot of people that enter, just like, say I did, or other people, many people always start somewhere and you get into Bitcoin, but then it's like, oh, wait, yeah, keys, exchanges, custody, a node, there's steps to it. And many people will never go down that path. They'll just start and then sit on it and be into it. And over time, maybe they think about the next step. But I think many people will never feel that need, and they just never will.
Yeah.
Overall,
that convention you're talking about, Johnny, is a Bit Block Boom.
BitBlock Boom in Dallas,
Yeah.
Fort Worth.
I actually think I'm kind of toying with the idea of maybe we go there instead of the Bitcoin conference next year. Maybe.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of contemporaneous. I think X Stacy went to BitBlock Boom this year. Is that right?
Yeah.
But she said there's like 2,500 people there, So it's not that it's a small conference. I mean, it's big, right? But when you're talking about like a company like ours, you go, well, do you want to pitch your product to 2,500 base people, or do you want to have 30,000 to choose from, The thing is, I mean, our effective audience might actually be bigger at BitBlock Boom, because it might actually be people that really care about self-custody and are thinking about that kind of stuff and having those kind of things.
But, I've heard it described as like the Prague of the US conferences, like smaller, but a lot more base people.
Yeah. I mean, I want to check it out. It's just, historically, MicroSeed's only been a company for a year, right? And this is like year 2, basically. So, the thing is like getting a booth space at BitBlock Boom is almost the same cost as the Bitcoin conference. And it's like, man, that's a tough thing, and it's like, it's just one of those weird decisions you got to make as a business owner. Right.
Yeah.
And so like me and Fritz will sit and talk about it and think about it. And, Robin, we'll all three kind of come up and, but right. So far it's still like the Bitcoin conference is like the one you kind of have to go to, I guess. I don't know, but
yeah, overall, the layout and the size of it. I mean, I think I noticed a little bit smaller numbers of people. It's just that the overall expanse of the whole space, they tightened the space up just a little bit or laid it out a little different. So there was less overall space for the number of people, and it just sort of felt similarly crowded. But you could tell there were less people than last year.
yeah.
I don't know by how much, if it was half or 2/3, but it wasn't bad. It was actually, I mean, it was busy enough. That was for sure. There were times where it was just a talk would let out, and it was just a scrum of people all around, and I'd be milling my way through to the bathroom or to the art spot or whatever, and it was crammed.
Right.
So it felt busy, but less overall space for the people. But it felt, it definitely felt big. Not small.
Well, I remember I think my first Bitcoin conference was Miami, like when we went to Miami a couple of years back, right? I thought that was kind of fun, I mean, there was a lot of people griping about it. It was in the Miami Convention Center, so it was kind of an odd layout, and there's like rooms scattered all over the place, and it was a little hard to navigate.
Yeah.
And if you went out on the trade floor, it was sort of like it didn't look like the Vegas experience was definitely more like a show, right? Like versus the Miami experience, which felt kind of like a tack on almost, And I remember people bitching about it, but I was kind of walking around going, well, hey man, I'm talking to a bunch of base people talking about base stuff, and this is cool. And we got to, shake hands with Sailor and just, whatever. But it's I don't know, man. Like the space is going to do what the space is going to do. Bitcoin is going to do what Bitcoin is going to do. The finance people are going to do what the finance people are going to do. Governments are going to do what governments are going to do. But at the end of the day, as long as the network's still running, you can take self-custody. It's like, well, it kind of doesn't matter what these clowns do. As long as the network stays decentralized and secure, then you kind of go, what's going to happen is going to happen. And there's nothing I can do about it. Like,
yeah,
Jack Mallers can't do anything about it. Michael Saylor can't do anything about it. Like Ding Dong, what's his face, can't do anything about it. Like Larry Fink or whatever. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Vegas is 100% absolutely against the Bitcoin.
It's the worst of all the fiat. I mean, so and then we would notice this. It's just in your face. But the Bitcoin conference, as diverse of all the people there are, it's still just. It felt like a microcosm of intelligence and thought going on. And then as soon as you walk down the hall, you're thrust into the surreal world of absolute fucking insanity. I mean, gambling aside, just, and I'm trying not to be judgmental superficially. It's easy because it's right. I mean, people are presenting it, but everything from fake stuff to the fiat gambling stuff to unhealthy people or like people dying, but they want to push the buttons. And then the hotels and you got to pay for everything. And everything's more expensive, and then the lights and the still people on the street walking around out of their minds, or homelessness, or it's just all that stuff. And it's uh yeah, as soon as you leave the venue, you're back into clown world, and
Right.
it's extra special clown world.
Right.
But then I'm like, oh, I want to get back home. I get home and I remind myself of, like, yeah, the kind of slightly watered down clown world that's everywhere. So it's a real transition from, oh my gosh, here's my people, here's my stuff, my thinking, everything is like I'm in the world and I'm feeling smarter and interested in like what's happening. And then as soon as I walk out, it's like no one understands this.
Yeah.
Like they'll never think about it. They'll just be like, you know, what's
Yeah.
the next game? We went, like, we're trying to unwind after one of the nights at the bar or whatever, and just watching hockey, or, and I can appreciate it at a certain level, but my brain is at this zoomed out meta level of evaluating, like, what is going on here? Like, what is this show on this channel in the, the minds of all humans, and where does this fit in culture? And for me, I don't know what to say. I'm just like taken aback by this show, the bread and circus stuff of it. Even as I can appreciate it for what it is, it doesn't fit a frame for me. It's just sort of like, this is so odd.
Yeah.
I feel like an alien.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got to hang out with Michael Jordan from the Bitcoin Way and Robin Sayer a lot, yeah, and that's spot on. It's a wealth extraction machine.
It's everything about it.
But that's the entire society we live in. It's all about extracting wealth from you. It's extracting your ability to produce resources, right? But one of the topics of conversation that kept coming back for us was like how much Bitcoin changes you beyond financial stuff, right? Like, I've seen it with Robin Sayer directly. I've seen it with Michael Jordan directly. I've seen it myself directly. I've seen it with Fritz directly. I've seen it with our buddy Travis directly. Like, once you get down the Bitcoin rabbit hole, like, life stops looking like a fiat world, right? Like, or you start seeing the fiat world for what it is.
Yeah.
And you start participating less and less and less in the fiat shenanigans. You're still beholden to it. You still have to, like, coordinate your life around fiat things. Like, anybody that says you're escaping the fiat system, I go, you're just living a delusion at that point. But
yeah, it's like this. You're like,
yeah,
what the hell?
Yeah,
oh
exactly.
my God, I can see it. I can see it now.
Yeah. But once you see the machinery, you kind of go, oh, I don't really have to participate in all the negative externalities of the machinery. Like, you can recognize on one level, it's like, well, this is kind of how the world works. This is how I get my groceries. This is how I get my car. This is how I get around the world. This is how I navigate the space. This is how we coordinate resources, right? It's through the dollar, through fiat systems, right? But a lot of the extractive aspects of that you can suddenly start avoiding. You go like, well, I don't want to eat a bag of Doritos because that's literally another way to extract wealth from you. And like, people will often say, hey, we need to make America healthy again. I go, you're going to put a lot of people out of a job if you did that, right?
If people were healthy, they wouldn't consume what they're doing.
Right. Like, but I mean, if you think about just how all the knock-on effects of that, you kind of go, man, like, a lot of our economy is dependent on fat, sick people. Like, just think about how many people work in the medical industry. Like, it's enormous. And think about the pharmaceutical industry. It's enormous.
Talked to a doctor who had bought one of our MicroSeeds, and God, maybe he was on a panel actually. I can't remember. There were so many people. I wrote down notes of people when I met him and stuff. But yeah, he was talking about the sick care system basically, and everything from food and lifestyle and everything to the industry of health. But it's, insurance and money and sick care. And so, anyway,
yeah.
But and there was a good talk on that, the Bitcoin and health and the sick care system. And there were good talks like that. And then also there was one point. So it was day one. One of the earlier breaks I took where I just ran over to the bathroom and back. There was a talk on the Genesis stage right next to us as I was walking by, and I thought they were joking about it, but the topic was literally like, we joke about astronomy for men. They were legitimately, and I'll have to look up in the agenda what that talk was, but it was seriously timing whatever, buying and selling and trading Bitcoin. Bitcoin's price action based literally on astrology. And I stood there for a minute, just glancing at it, thinking, oh, this is funny. And they're joking. No, they were not joking. They were talking about when Mars is in retrograde and it's this sign and this stuff. And they were talking about astrology affecting the price of Bitcoin and stuff. And I was like, you got to be shitting me.
Yeah.
And they weren't like kind of being tongue in cheek about it. It was kind of like, no, it was the astrology and feels or astrological vibe of what, fiat price action.
Right.
And there were people kind of, I think, interested because it's like the magical number go up or down about, I don't know how to describe that, but it's kind of like seeking for order in something that's chaotic. And it was so metaphysical. It was just like, I kept walking. I walked along with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, it's like I always appreciate going to these conferences. We're going to Prague in June, so that's if you're watching and you have an opportunity to get to Prague, that's kind of the place where you're going to get way better signal, way better sort of personality showing up, way better talks, way better companies. I mean, it's still a big sort of fiat show, right? But it's oriented a lot more around, Bitcoin and what Bitcoin is for people, not for mining companies or whatever. So, there's some really great people there. I met a guy from Tropic Square. They're talking about doing like open source hardware or like at least auditable hardware. And, like there's a lot of things I think people just don't think about. And just in the terms of the complexity of like processing and holding Bitcoin, like where Cold Card gets their hardware from matters. And so it's fun to see people actually thinking about that and talking about that and dealing with that on that level of like, oh yeah, there's other stuff going on with Bitcoin that we got to think about too, and so you get a little bit more of that in Prague. Plus, I don't have to work when I'm in Prague, so I'm gonna be hanging out in the VIP area, just like eating the really good food up there, and it's like totally chill. And there's no like I have to make the same pitch 1,400 times and scream at the top of my lungs to get over the noise of the venue and all that kind of stuff. I can just kind of sit and chill. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. But if you can go, check it out.
Yeah, Exodus mentions here that he'd go to meet people he interacts with online, the base good friend folks, and that was a lot of my favorite part of it too. Was people that I had only met online or virtually, or you kind of like feel like I really like I know you well in one regard, but we've just never like been face to face, and all of a sudden it breaks through a level of reality of we're here.
Yeah.
we can shake hands, we can hug, and have the kind of communication that is, anyway, just it's very authentic and fun that way.
Yeah.
I loved seeing the people. Adam Back was there, briefly made an appearance, or at least one, at the Blockstream booth, and I just happened to, I was out by the art gallery spot, and I was talking to some artists and then making my way back, and there's what's this crowd? Oh, it's Adam Back. And I thought, and I'm like, oh, I'll get in line. And I look at the line and it went all the way down to the Steak and Shake like a block away. And he had like 3 armed security all around him, the satchel in front, the satchel in back, concealed carry pistol, concealed carry fold up rifle, I'm sure, earbud radios, and these buff guys, tactical guys, totally chill and cool, but just like head on a swivel, watching, looking, everything. And he had a handler managing the line. Right. And then Adam's Adam, you know how he is. He's just kind of like humble and goofy and just kind of like deadpan nerdy, but polite. And the line went down the way. And I was like, yeah, I'm not waiting for that. But he was cool.
Well, I mean, but when I was hanging out in Prague and up in the VIP area, like when Adam Back came rolling around, it's like he's just standing there. You go,
yeah.
How you doing? I'm Dan, and blah, blah, blah. And will you take a picture? He's like, yeah, sure.
Okay. A year ago, he was just walking around without security. Now, just glimpses in the wild, but he was just there. And and this year it was like wherever he was, he like had an escorted beeline to the booth and was at the booth, and then probably went back to the badger hole. So
yeah, well, that's kind of a strange thing. Is like if you look at the amount of security that was stepped up, and I don't know if that's anything to do with like the rhetoric, the heated rhetoric that's been floating around, especially with like
documentaries and articles and
yeah, I mean, just like people have been fussing and squabbling and making threats and whatnot. So it's kind of like it's sort of sad to see like all the
yeah.
tribalism that comes into Bitcoin and just how tribal people get. And for me, the deeper problem is I kind of go, I don't think anyone really understands what they're dealing with. So they're getting all tribal about shit they don't really understand, on a deep level. They're just like bandwagon following, and it's like, so you guys are getting all bent out of shape and infighting and doing all this nonsense. And it's like, well, I don't think you really understand the network layer that deeply. I don't think you understand the monetary layer that deeply. I don't think you understand any of this. I don't think you understand the fiat system all that deeply. But yet you're all pissed off and bent out of shape and willing to make threats on people's lives and call people Nazis and do all this weird shit. Just, it's like, why are you bringing all this same political nonsense into the space? I think it's all driven by feds. I really do. I think the feds are, like, I think it's either like corporate infiltrators or Fed infiltrators or both. And I think
there's definitely an angle, an aspect of that. Even as human nature is what it is, powers that be, why wouldn't they be doing the same game they do with everything else in Bitcoin? Like, of course they are. So,
right. Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's exactly it, right? Like if you think about this and you go, well, BlackRock's in the space now, pretty hard. Fidelity's in the space now. Kash Patel is speaking at the conference. The vice president spoke last year. A sitting senator spoke this year. You go, what's the likelihood that none of these people who have devoted their entire lives to like destabilizing governments and dismantling, networks and doing all this crazy shit, they're just going to leave Bitcoin alone? Like there's no way they're going to send some people in here to drive a big thing about Knots versus Core and just like stir people up and get them all steamed and fighting with each other. Like zero chance some Fed or some corporate goon would want to come and create discord, like division within a group. No possibility there. They're just going to leave Bitcoin alone, even though the most powerful financial companies in the world are now tinkering with it. You've got a sitting US president talking about Bitcoin. It's like pretty sure those guys are going to come in and they're going to start tinkering with stuff. And then just watching it happen and then watching people just let it happen and watching people let all that happen ignorantly is just like, God, can you not see like what's so very clear to me anyway? Like there are actors coming into the space that are not doing so for any other reason than to cause disruption so they can better control what we're doing, who we are, what we think, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think with an ultimate goal of probably making it so the Wall Street bros can play with this a little safer. It's like, if you're going to be a based voice and you're calling other Bitcoiners shitcoiners because they're doing something with the network you don't like, I think you're doing the bidding of BlackRock and the feds more than if you just came out and said, hey, take self-custody and run a node, and then you're a real Bitcoiner. Like, if you're not doing that, you're not a real Bitcoiner until you do. But that's the only tribalism you need. Are you self-custody? Are you running a node? If you do those two things, I go, you're a base Bitcoiner. That's all I need to know about you. If you're talking about ETFs and stretch and strategy and 21 and, whatever nonsense these people are coming up with, fucking treasury companies and federal reserves of Bitcoin and all this shit, I'm just like, you're not in the right mind frame already. If you're complaining about spam versus no spam and monetary network versus no monetary, I go, what are you talking about, man? Like, if you think that's what's compromising the network right now, like BlackRock is sitting there right there with a great big sign going, we're here to take your network. And they're like, but spam. Yeah, it's like, dude, what are you talking about, man? That's not like spam might be a problem maybe someday, right? Just like any of this other stuff might be a problem maybe someday. Mining centralization and financial centralization is a big, huge problem right now. Like, focus on that. If the network layer gets centralized, that's an even bigger problem. So how about do a very simple thing instead of getting all tribal and screaming at each other on Twitter? Go spin up a node. Do your part. I don't care if you run Knots or Core, whatever floats your boat, but get another node out there. Teach other people why that matters. That's what's going to preserve Bitcoin as far as I'm concerned. So,
yeah, I think, we talk about, why people get into Bitcoin and how far they get with it. And a lot of people, they join, they maybe for number go up, and then they becomes like the ideals of it, the ideals of, fixing and changing things. And so they're passionate about that. And then they're passionate about that. They get into the technical stuff and they take a stance on issues at large or contrived. But at least people are passionate about it. And then you think about, okay, so if you're the CIA or whatever, you see this giant growing, this community or culture, or there's money in it, or control angles about it, mechanisms of the future in it. If they're gonna turn the tide or control of an entire country over, color revolution or behind the scenes whatever's, they don't have complete control at all, but they get inroads and roots in, and then they get that whatever 3% or fund some things enough to have a presence and a hand on the wheel, and then they steer it and they steer it and they steer it, and then they never have complete control, but they guide it in a direction where it works for them. Right. Speaking of that kind of conspiracy thing, so funny story about after one of the first day of the conference, and so afterwards we're just walking out. We take 5 minutes to stand and regroup and decide about dinner or something. We're standing there. There were like Chinese spies on us, right? Seriously. At first I just thought, oh, this is really awkward and goofy. And like, who are you? And you don't know who we are. And yet I need to connect with you on LinkedIn. Right. It's like, you don't know my name, dude. Or you don't know. I mean, we're like just randos, but we got all the Bitcoin. Like, we're clearly Bitcoiners. What kind of Bitcoiner? Who the hell knows? Right. But there we are. And there's like a group of 4 or 5 of us standing there talking, whatever. And here comes I'll just be superficial about it. Label it as, okay, Asian guy comes up, like, here for the conference. I'm going to get in. He looks kind of like nervous and in a hurry. But he needs to connect with us on LinkedIn, right? Or Telegram, or like wherever. And it's like, okay. And then, so there was one, and then like later after dinner, I guess, another gal, same shtick, same script. Yeah. Oh, hey, is there an event happening? It's like, oh, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot. Like, oh, did I miss it? I'm like,
no, she had she actually had a conference badge. That second chick did. Yeah, the first guy didn't even have a badge. He was just weird.
It could have been Fang.
I don't know what it was. Just weird, man. Like, it was just a really weird interaction. Like, I don't know if it was just like some
Victoria Yang. I don't know. The first guy, Steven, Steven. I don't know. Steven was his given name, was his handled name,
adopted name. Yeah.
The second one was Victoria Yang, and she's there for the conference. She's at the conference, but she's like, "What's going on here?" Oh no! And it went from just kind of like, "Is stuff going on? Let's just chat." And I'm like, "This is normal and cool." Like, okay, you're here for the conference. Okay, cool. But like, why us? Where you came from? I don't know. But then it was like, "Are you on LinkedIn?" Yeah. It's like, no. Well, at least I'm not. Yeah. What about Telegram? I'm like, why?
What are you talking about?
I don't know you.
Yeah.
And then can I get a picture selfie? And it's like, okay. I think there's a that went into a dossier somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's what I'm getting at through all of this stuff, right? Is like all these governments and all these people are always doing, like, God only knows what shenanigans are doing in the background, man. So you got to kind of like watch yourself. But
there were Chinese spies there for sure. Like, your mission is to go in there, find and meet Bitcoiners. We don't know who's who, but we're building our profile of Bitcoiners, and we might find someone who is influential or becomes influential, and we got a connection with them. Maybe they want a girlfriend, and you get handled.
Right. Yeah. Who knows, dude? Who knows? I mean, maybe you get bagged up and, put in the back of a little Chinese sedan or something. I don't know. It's just weird interaction. I mean, like, I would point out that there were no other Bitcoiners that just randomly walked up to us and were like, "Hey, how's it going? Are you here for the conference? Do you want to meet on LinkedIn?" It's like, what? Like, who, what, where, what script did you read this from? Like, there were no other, like, people just walking up, just randomly going, "Hey, I'm Natalie Brunell. Want to meet on LinkedIn?" Okay, I guess so. Like, it just doesn't make sense, right? So,
yeah, at one level, I thought maybe they're really desperate to find, like, looking for a job. Like, hey, I want to work in this space. I want to find, like, do you work in this space? Oh, I do some stuff. Like, I'd like to work in this space, and I'm just cold throwing darts, shotgun, like trying to
Yeah.
connect with people
Yeah.
awkwardly.
Very awkward.
Okay, like we're not hiring, like you don't even know who we are,
Yeah.
but it was extra. And then also, yeah, everything about it was just kind of extra and weird. And so afterwards, it didn't dawn on me till later when she wanted when she wanted the selfie, and then I connected it to the other guy, and it was like LinkedIn or Telegram or just however, who are you? And then like quickly, like, well, okay, bye.
Right.
Um, uh, our conclusion was like they had to be spies. I mean, it sounds weird, but literally,
Yeah.
they had
Or
to be
just
spies.
some sort of state or corporate
Some,
agent or something.
yeah.
Yeah. Like they were just bizarre people. But I also realized, like, once, I mean, if you think about the Chinese tech stack in terms of surveillance and monitoring and all that kind of stuff, like, there's no shortage of documentary evidence about what they're doing over, there, especially on the mainland. But I mean, it's like, oh, we just gave biometrics to some Chinese spy. That's pretty cool. And we're like touching her screen, so she's got her fingerprints, and it's like, fudge, man. Like, what are we doing here? Like,
Yeah,
this is,
she was like, "Here, take my phone. Here, you."
you're
And
like, put
oh,
on
you want
some
me to find myself on your phone?
yeah,
Like, okay.
all
Uh,
right.
I don't know. It was so weird.
Yeah, and the weird thing was I can't even find myself on LinkedIn. Like it's and I don't I mean maybe it's like who knows, maybe their little spy software didn't let them like I feel like
Didn't get through their Chinese firewall.
yeah, like their Chinese firewall prevented me from finding myself. Yeah, but right here like I type a Google search and I pop right up like pretty easy. But still
Yeah,
not
yeah.
yeah, but still
Um,
not on LinkedIn. I can't find my LinkedIn profile for the life. I don't even know what my LinkedIn is anymore. So, but I'm like, who the hell uses LinkedIn? Like, I mean, seriously, who does use
I know.
LinkedIn?
I graduated from hustling for jobs on that. I was just like, I don't.
I mean, it's
Uh,
like the social network for HR, right? Like, it's like
yeah, it's an
self-imposed HR.
HR social media. Um, I mean, I know people post some cool stuff on there and stuff, but it's very much like who's who in the hire me space,
Right? Yeah.
or maybe I guess there's business networking, sure, but there are job application sites where they want to look at your LinkedIn, and you have to curate like your business corp profile, and I hate that, but I
Yeah.
don't, my
Well,
resume online.
I'm in the middle of updating my LinkedIn right now. When was that?
I haven't been on it in a long time.
Well, I found myself. I'm somehow able to find myself here, but
I saw her type my handle in and she couldn't find me. And
yeah,
then I went on mine. She had her phone out and there was her handle clear as can be. And I typed it out and I couldn't find her. And it was like, well, I don't know. Like,
yeah,
how badly do we need to connect here and for what? And it seemed like, oh, just for fun, like I'm a fellow pleb.
right,
And then when I just couldn't find her. And I was like, I mean, I don't know, whatever. But uh somehow we got connected, and then I'm like, should I just unfollow her? Maybe.
yeah.
Funny.
Bizarre experience. So it was a bizarre sort of like interaction in the middle of an otherwise. I mean, the conference was fun. Like I'm not gonna lie, it was like it was fun just being there. It's fun being in that environment. It's fun to kind of separate yourself from the straight fiat world into like a modified fiat world. But just seeing people walking around and talking about Bitcoin and thinking about Bitcoin. I mean, it's a show, right? It's at the end of the day, it's just a great big like circus for Bitcoiners. So I don't know, definitely worth the experience, I think.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. You can easily
Yeah.
judge things about the nature of it or whatever, but it was big. It's the biggest. It happened. There was a mishmash of stuff I'm totally not into, and a lot of stuff that I'm really quite enthralled by and enjoy. I'll take the good, and
Yeah.
then with the stuff I'm not into, it's like, it is what it is. I mean, Bitcoin's for everybody. So
Yeah, exactly.
there
Even
they
the
are.
stocks, apparently. Yeah.
Fiat and base. So, and a mix of both. People have their foot in both. So,
Yeah.
uh, but everybody that came by, it was like, no matter what level they were at, or they're like, oh, well, this other place does that, or oh, maybe I like this better, but I'd like this or whatever. It's like, yeah, you can do whatever you want. We just say take self custody. Just
Yeah.
whatever you decide to do. We just say take self custody.
Run a node.
And getting that message out there, and that resonates with most everybody I talked to. There were some really cool people. I mean, they would hang out and chat, but whether we entirely agreed or disagreed or otherwise, they've done their research and they knew a lot about things.
Yeah.
Some of them like went off in directions. I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay, that has its own risks.
Right.
Like how you look at what risk is. Maybe you have a different opinion, but still had done their research for sure.
Yeah.
So.
One thing I would point out is we were very fortunate, I think. We were between Bitcoin trading cards and the Tunnel Twins, which both those guys, both those folks are great. I love the Tunnel Twins. I'm a big fan of their content. And the gals that were running the booth were just these really sweet Christian gals, and just, they're great, neighbors to have. And then right next to us, the BTC trading card guys, which are all just like really genuine human beings.
They're
and
cool.
Yeah.
Aladdin and his brother Bo, and all those guys are cool.
Yeah, really. And they got a neat little thing. But the thing is, I don't really know anything about trading cards, but he was kind of like, their pitch was like, yeah, we kind of want to bring back like the face-to-face interaction and that kind of excitement that you have when you were a kid, like opening up trading cards and whatnot. I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And they gave me, like, I gave them a couple of MicroSeeds. It's like, here, just take them, dude, just run with it, have fun,
Yeah.
And then they came back and opened up a pack of cards for me. And to be completely fair, I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of fun, man. Like, I'm cutting open this little thing and I'm like, oh, what cards did I get? And
takes me
like,
back to middle school or something.
Yeah, it was like straight back to like, my youth. And it was just like, oh, this is like, I kind of get what you guys are doing now. Like, I got it more having had the experience versus just like thinking about it, right? So
yeah.
But I mean, it's hard to argue with being, amongst that kind of crew, even though we were kind of in the backwoods of the bazaar. It was still like we had some great neighbors, and
yeah, Total Twins were awesome. Great gals there. And then the cards, like I haven't collected cards since like middle school, really, but in elementary school, I loved that stuff, and then when I grew up, I just frankly got busy and it didn't become like a lifelong hobby for me. But they're well made, well designed, well thought out. The seasons of it and the slant of the story, and then the individual cards themselves, the art and the limited numbers of certain different things, and you can get caught up in the commodity of it as well. But bless me. Right up front, they're beautiful and collectible, and they're like, oh, cool, I would hang on to these. I like these. Also, then there's the number game of it, like as a rarity, like, oh, there's only one of 21 of these, or one of 420 of these.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you get that spirit of a collectible for fun, and you can rate them, and I don't know, but they're cool.
Well, but they also do like artist collabs. Like, there's a bunch of amazing artists in the Bitcoin art space, and I'm so grateful to Asanoa for putting out Bitcoin Art Magazine. Like, it's a great little. If you haven't checked it out, it's definitely worth it, because there's some really, really compelling artwork being done in the space. So
let me get my.
Yeah, and we actually have an ad in there, so that was kind of fun too.
Oh,
yeah,
here we are.
Boom, right next to the skateboard hero. But Asano actually designed that ad for us, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, Asano was there. And that's another thing, the energy and the vibe that he's growing and has going on, and connected with a large swath of the community. And to a person, like the people I talked to, I don't know them that well, but they were just so genuine and welcoming and happy to be there, interested in me and in us, and vice versa. And it was just like, I love these people. I just do.
Yeah.
I mean, and even some of the artists too, as I've gotten to know them, and I've spent some time, had them on the podcast or talked with them, spent time with them there, and down to their like livelihood level and who they are. They're good people, like, good stories. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it was energizing. So
Yeah. Well, I think bringing art to the space is really important. I think it's more important than, fighting over knots versus core, if I'm honest, because that's the kind of thing that, it broadens the space, right? But these people that are doing the work are based Bitcoiners. They're not like, just like half the influencers you meet are just there because they're capitalizing on, they found a niche that they can exploit.
yeah.
So you kind of go, well, you're less interesting to me, but the artists are doing it from genuine passion. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort, and some of the stuff they come up with is really neat. I mean, some of it I kind of look at and go, oh, yeah, it's okay or whatever. It's not my thing. But a lot of it, you just go, man, this is like some really great art. And it's like the kind of thing I wouldn't mind having hanging on my wall, or they're great conversation pieces, and they're thoughtful, and so I think it's an important evolution of the Bitcoin space, and it's really I mean, hats off to Asanoa. So, great job. I love that stuff. I'm so glad that we're part of it. But
Yeah, the live artist stuff. Let's see, 2 years ago, George Bodine was there painting Hal Finney live. There's a guy, Mirror One. He's really good at making really high quality. I don't know what style you'd call it, but high quality within hours, big canvas. And I don't know, that may be hard to see. But anyway, he painted this giant canvas just in hours. Like, I mean, a total of maybe 6 hours, but like a couple hours one day, few hours the next. And he's there painting live on this big thing. And you're looking at him just do these big brush strokes and all this stuff. And you're like, how that comes together. It's like, who's that Fro guy that was the painter?
oh yeah, the Bob
Bob.
something.
Anyway, but it was like great, great, great personality. And as he's going, he's painting and stuff, and people are watching. And he'd turn, he'd chat. And he's got this whole personality going. And Mirror One, he's very, very based and kind of rebellious about the revolution aspect of it all. But he draws these big paintings live, and you're watching it start, and you're like, huh, I wonder how this will turn out, because he's going fast and just big things. And then it starts coming together, and very quickly you're like, that is good.
Yeah.
How does he do that?
Yeah,
It was awesome.
amazing. Yeah. Bodine is a trippy dude. Like I was hanging out with him a little bit in Prague, and that was when he was first kind of coming into the space. Is like, he's one of those like most interesting man ever. He's talking about like, parachuting out of his crashing jet plane and all this crazy shit.
Yeah, he lost friends to crashes and stuff.
Yeah. So, he's like Top Gun guy or something. I don't know. I mean, so he's one of those guys that you just can't help but like listen to and talk to and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, that's kind of the funny thing about this whole space is just like the kind of personalities that it attracts and the kind of people that sort of stand out in the middle of it. It's just kind of neat, even if you strip away all the fiat nonsense and all the monetary nonsense and all the use case nonsense and whatever. It's like you just look at the space in general as just a social experiment. It's like, man, this is kind of we've created a pretty interesting world here in Bitcoin.
Yeah. There's Bodine painting Hal Finney in what was that, 2024? Maybe it was 2023, Miami.
Oh yeah, I think Miami was 22, wasn't it?
Well, it was in Miami a number of years, but I think the last one might have been 23. Anyway, and it's funny because I took that picture just like, oh, that's cool and stuff, and I had no idea who George Bodine was.
Right.
And then 2 years later, I'm like, oh, I know who he is, and I go back through my photos, and I'm like, that was George Bodine. And I'm just, at the time, like, I don't know who the hell people are. But anyway, no, that's cool.
Well, I still don't know who these people are. You know what I mean? Like half the time people, and it's funny because you can kind of tell the tone of the influencer you're talking to, because if you're just like, I have no idea who you are, they get kind of butt hurt if they're all about being an influencer, right? But the people that aren't, like, they're just people, right? So it's
no, that was 23.
Oh yeah, 23. All right. Oh yeah.
So yeah, I know Miami. They did Miami year after year for a while there. I think the last one was 23.
Yeah.
24
Nashville.
25 Vegas.
26.
26 Vegas. 27 Nashville.
And then 28, I think, goes back to Miami, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, that's what I hear. We'll see. I don't know.
Well,
yeah. Well, this seems like a pretty good place.
Bitcoin magazine conference. But no, it was nice to be there. Net positive, just well, the networking aspect was big. I mean, and even new people that like we just met there and they had ideas or they're in a space or they want to connect or they're interesting. I just be like, hey, let's connect. And anyway, just meeting a lot of new people.
Yeah.
Very validating.
All right.
What
Well,
else?
I don't know. I think this is probably a pretty good place to stop. I got a bunch of other stuff I got to do anyway.
Yeah, I got things to go get to. It'll take a while to percolate everything that happened and catch back up. I got work to do.
Ew. Ew.
I mean, not work, but I mean, I know I got like catching up on some of the emails and connections and planning around Prague.
Oh yeah. That's one thing I really got to get locked down. Like it just snuck up on me, man. Like I've been thinking like, oh, I got plenty of time. Oh, I don't have any time. So yeah, but we're going to go hang out in Austria with Robin for about a week and just go check out Upper Austria and all kinds of cool stuff. So yeah, a lot of neat stuff.
Yeah. After some of the days,
oh, thanks.
The casino smoke air or the airplane air, or I mean, a lot of those days I would take an allergy pill because I was congested, or you'd walk through the casino and just the first whiff of the cigar or a cigarette smoke or something, and it would just start to hit me like, oh, there's particles.
Yeah, I forget like how, I mean, I grew up in the 70s, right? So it's just like, like the first place I ever started working, like you could smoke in the building. My first high school, the first year I started high school, they said you weren't allowed to smoke inside anymore. That's for the students, so that's how different the world is, right?
Smoking in the bathroom.
Yeah, it was just like, whatever, yeah, just take it outside, buddy. Like I'd light up my cigarette on the way out the building, that kind of stuff. So yeah, exactly, dude. That's exactly it. I think those Chinese people infected me with some Chinese, bat stew.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All
right, man.
Well, cool. We'll be catching up more as we go down the road. In a week, I'll have more thoughts about everything too. But no, it's good. Cool. We can cut it there.
And thank you everybody for showing up. It's always great to see y'all. Johnny, always a pleasure. Bring facts. Thank you as always.
Yeah.
Travis still here? Or did he bail?
He's driving, so he's
in and out
perhaps. But
yeah.
Anyway, we're all busy, but back to life. Back to life. Yeah. Thanks, Johnny. All right, we'll end it there. Thanks. Till next week. We'll talk more. Bye, everybody. I'm tired.